Hello and welcome to another episode of the Christian Reeve podcast. Today's guest is a musician. He's a guitarist. He does a lot of cool things. His name is Leon Joullie. Welcome to the
Ooh,
show.
beautiful. Thank you so much for having me, bro. This is so cool.
That's my day made now. Now that I got that right, I can sleep easy. It's not like I asked you beforehand.
No.
We
That was
talked,
like
no,
you just got it the first try, bro.
yeah, just first try, man. Right. I don't even know where to start. Normally, I'm like, oh, I could do this, I could do that. Let's talk about where music begins for you, because I get the feeling that it's from a very, very young age, maybe osmosis situation. Tell me about where it starts for you.
Bro, I've been listening. I've always loved music. I've listened to music since I can remember anything, really. One of my first memories was being traumatized by the Yellow Submarine movie. When I was, I don't know, 5 or 6, I watched it and I was like, the blue meanies really scared me, and that hand as well.
Mm. Oh, yeah, yeah.
Fell asleep to that album. Man, like I've always wanted to do music. I always wanted to play guitar, but for some reason, because I traveled a lot, and if you can't tell by my accent, I'm kind of Mr. Worldwide International. You know what I mean? And
I'm
like,
still trying to place it. Like,
it's a long story that in itself. But so my family's Brazilian, and I grew up most of my life in Brazil. But I was born here in the UK and moved around quite a lot. Yeah. Well, like it's a whole thing. But
so confused.
I
Born
it's
in Brazil. Sorry, family's from Brazil. Born in the UK with a
and
French
then
name. What's
I
going
lived,
on, man?
then I lived in Greece for 6 years, and then I went to Brazil. And I've always wanted to do music. I've always like been exposed to music, sang in choirs as a little kid, but you know how it is. And then when I moved to Brazil, I picked up the guitar. Actually, I used to like see this guitar in my uncle's house in Brazil.
Beautiful. Yeah.
I was always had dreams of it. Like I remember my dreams, and I was always like trying to like get it, but it was always so messed up, and I had to get like to my luthier. And this guitar is from like 1966, which is crazy. So
Mm.
it's my baby. But yeah, sorry, I keep like going to many different paths. But I picked up the guitar, started having lessons when I was 13 or so. Only my mom was like, if you pass seventh grade, then you can get lessons. And I was like, okay. First time in my life I studied to do anything. I was like, I want to do music. So I did. And God bless, I had like the best teacher. He taught me everything I know. He used to come to my house and like we do like a lesson, and then he would bring his hard drive and just drop a whole discography. He was like, okay, here's Pink Floyd, listen to this. And then I would just download blah, blah, blah. Then here's Red Hot Chili Peppers, listen to this. And then blah, blah, blah. So like with Hot Chili Peppers, Pink Floyd, and Beatles, if you play 1 second, I can name all the tunes, something like that.
That's mad. Can you like if I because the way you appear to me as a sort of a musician where like you understand the instrument more so than like maybe the average player. So like if we're on stage together and I say, "Oh, just play this," even if you don't maybe know the chords, you'll know it. You'll be able to figure out
Yeah,
probably within about 30 seconds.
I mean, yeah, I went to uni for music. I've always listened to music, so I feel like some of those things you kind of just, like you said, like you get it through osmosis, and sometimes you can blag your way around it by
Mm.
just getting a groove. If you know like one or two chords, you can like doom, and then like I don't know the third chord, so I'm just gonna and then play the next one. I feel like, oh my god, he knows what he's doing. I was like, no.
It's one of those weird ones, isn't it? Because like when I think about like how I learned to sing, because someone asked me about this recently, and I said like literally you just have to train your ear. And like I started doing it by singing along to like City and Color songs and
I
just
love
like
City in Color, bro.
same, man, I'm a huge fan. But it helps. Like, do you know what I mean? And he's got a really interesting you
Voice.
yeah, because obviously for those who don't know, he was good. Ah, yeah. He's a guitarist in Alexis on Fire, but I think he also did like backing vocals or something. And they were kind of not hardcore. Like what were they? Post-hardcore? I don't know.
I don't know. Like it's funny,
Hard to-
like how he just came out of that scene and he's like tattooed guy, nice beard, and he just has this beautiful angelic voice, and they're like, whoa.
That was the best thing he ever did. Honestly, I'm sure even today he's like, "Yep."
Yeah, that's it, man. Yeah, honestly, it's crazy.
No. Anyway, I have to ask. because shout out to Vilma. So one of my followers, good friend of mine, she always sends questions in and stuff like that. She hasn't on this occasion, so I'm going to ask for her because I know she'll be like, "Why didn't you ask that? You said you lived 6 years in Greece." My friend Vilma's from Greece.
No,
A little
no
bit
way.
about Greece for a minute.
Yeah, like so I lived in Athens and I lived like oh I mean throughout it. So when I moved there I was 3. So I don't have much memory. But I lived in the north of Athens in Kifisia, which
Mm.
is like in the mountainous part. So like pretty much stayed there for like the 6 years, and then I went to a French school because my dad is half French, so he wanted me to go to French school, and I did a bit of that, and I left Greece quite early. Like I was 8 when I left Greece.
Oh wow, so you young. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So
Uh,
then I moved to Brazil, and I was there for 10 years. I don't even know anymore. Maybe like yeah, 9 or 10, and then after that I moved to China, which is yeah, yeah, yeah. It's my mom. My mom, like, basically, my parents got divorced. My dad stayed in Greece. My mom took me and my siblings to Brazil, and she's an actress director. And then to get us through school, she started teaching, and she taught in this international school. And basically, because when you teach in Brazil, like your kids get scholarships. And then she got an offer in China, and she was like, "Let's go." And then we went, and yeah.
some people say if they're in a family that travels a lot, that can be quite it can be disruptive, maybe, especially when you're growing up. Like, what would you say to that? Like, how did that kind of influence you? And then also, like, how did it affect your music as well?
So I have like a clear comparison. Like I think, because I moved around for like from such an early age, like not only like going from Greece to Brazil, but also in Greece, I was already changing so many schools and changing houses and stuff. I think I just got used to it. And I think you either adapt to it and learn to talk to people, or you just shut yourself off. And I think after a while, I just became really talkative and really like just talking to everyone that I knew and just having fun. And music just kind of happened with it. And I started playing gigs in China out of all places. The scene in Brazil is like really hard to get into, like playing original stuff in front of a crowd. And in China, it was such an amazing experience because I was able to, I don't know, like up from the age of 17, I was playing like cool stages, rehearsing because my mom was a teacher, so we could stay at school after hours. And my brother was in the band, so we would be rehearsing like 5 times a week, like 5, 6 hours just jamming. You know, when you're young, you just like love to jam and do stuff. So that's what we'd do. And we got a singer eventually because it was like, oh, we want to play live with these jams, and we got a singer. And yeah, so dude, I don't know. It was amazing.
What's the music scene like that out there like that? Because we hear a lot, excuse me, about what China is like, and the closest thing I can really compare it to is years and years ago I was looking into maybe doing teaching out there, right? And
Mm,
from the accounts of other people and what I could sort of piece together from the interviews and stuff like that, it was like you were being given a certain uh perspective, maybe is the right word. Like you're not getting the full picture, you're getting like what they
yeah.
want to show you kind of thing. Now obviously, being that your mum lives and works there, has a career there, and so do you, and so do you by extension, you're really immersing yourself, so you go in that extra step. Like what could you speak to about sort of Chinese sensibilities, music taste, just how the people are, stuff like that?
So there's basically this like bubble for like all the international schools. So like there's like
Right.
around 14 international schools. And all the international schools before they went out, they used to go to this one bar called Scoreboard, which then got shut, which is so funny. Like everyone like it's because like everyone just met there. So the scene is like all these kids getting to talk to each other. But the funny part of it was most of the bands were the teachers from all these different schools. And then my band and I were like the only kids at the time who got into that scene. And we were like 18, my brother was 17, and we were playing these cool venues. And like the lecturers were like 35, like 40, and which they're like, yeah, dude. And there's an international scene, and like we were slowly going into like the Chinese scene back then, which is like 5 years ago now, maybe 6. Like, so it's a long time ago. So obviously, it has changed a lot. and it was great because we knew a guy who then knew a guy who then got us in, and then I knew a dude who was doing like a Foo Fighters cover band, and I joined that, and then I went for my first little tour, which was like Hong Kong, Macau, and then like we played Shanghai again. It was really sick, and it was such an eye-opening experience because I was like the youngest of all the bands that I was in, but I was so dedicated. I would like really practice. I would like learn everything by ear. That's one thing that my guitar teacher told me is like always learn things by ear, never use tabs because you're gonna develop a skill that you can just like start doing other things. Obviously, like when I first started out, it took me ages, but now I'm at a point that I can actually kind of get it a little bit quicker, which is great. And so yeah, the scene was amazing. We played some really cool gigs. Some highlights were playing in Mao Live House, which is like where all the international bands go and play. And yeah, man, it was a great experience. We recorded an album and everything. And you know how it is with bands, they kind of fall apart most of the time. And it was a really cool introduction to this world because being there, I was in loads of different bands. I was recording for the first time. I was doing a live album for the first time. Obviously, it didn't sound as good. It sounded pretty shit. Yeah, but it was like still, it was cool, like to be part of it. And it felt sheltered because we were in that world, and obviously you don't really like get the chance to use Instagram or Facebook or anything like that like properly because of like the barriers they have on those social medias. So it felt like I could really like hone my skills in the shadows and just like develop my playing or like my performance skills.
Speaking of which, like, what were I mean, I always ask every musician this, but I think this might be particularly interesting in this instance. What was kind of the best and worst performances you did there, and why? Maybe some of the ones that stand out a bit more, maybe.
So I can actually answer that being like talking about the same gig but different days.
Mm.
My band, we for some reason we managed to open for this charity event, and it was on the Mercedes-Benz the arena, but like there's like the small stage, so it's like a 10K cap thing, and we were called to like open up, like play 3 songs. So I was like super chuffed. So the day before, which was the sound check, I just drank everything like
Oh
around
no.
2 p.m. And I was sound checking, and my girlfriend like she was there, and she was filming. I had just like looked like a complete idiot. I was like being loud, being stupid, being like, "Ugh." And then the next day we played, and it was really cool. And so it was like the worst was like being drunk and being fucking stupid with everything. And then the next day was playing this gig in front of like these people, but it wasn't like yeah, it was like people sat down and like were like. So it was like a cool experience to do that.
This is something I want to kind of gauge as well. Like, what are people like there? What are the locals like? Like, do you get, underground musicians that are just cool, laid back like
Uh-huh.
us? Yeah?
There's like there was this guy who was in the rock and roll band, and he didn't speak a word of English, but we were hanging out. Like he came to all of my gigs. Like, I went to his gigs,
Oh, so cool, man.
and we were just like the love of music and rock and roll just like kept us like talking. Like we didn't understand much of each other, but like we were like cigarette. He was like cigarette, and then we're like, and I joined this like Led Zeppelin cover band with this amazing drummer. Also, didn't know a single word of English, but knew all the lyrics to the Led Zeppelin songs and knew each version from each like live stuff. So we would be rehearsing. It was like, no, 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 live 73, uh, Louisiana, this, and he would like, he had like all the bootlegs in his house, and he would just play this, and he would like, now do this, and I would like learn it and play it. So he was like, so
That's sick.
the love for music is, I don't know, it crosses every boundary and every barrier.
Yeah, it's interesting, like when I lived in Estonia years ago, I did like a lot of acting work and stuff like that. And there were so many times when like I knew a fair bit of the language, but I wasn't like fully fluent. I could get by. And there'd be times when people would talk to me and I'd be like struggling here. But you'd find some kind of understanding,
Yeah, yeah.
like or you'd kind of piece it together from what you do know. It's amazing that like the will to understand each other can kind of transcend that. It's
Yeah,
like, I don't know, maybe that's like another sense that humans have. But like you say, like music, creative things kind of bring you together in a way that maybe you hadn't even considered. So,
facts.
where is home for you?
I don't know. Like,
I just, do you know what I mean? It could be anywhere. Like, but I don't know.
so
It's
my,
interesting.
my dad and my brother now they live in Greece. My mom moved to Canada and she just finished her PhD. And
Congrats.
the rest of my family's in Brazil. So I'm kind of like everyone is scattered, and it's like tough because like doing Christmas, I have to choose
Ugh, yeah.
where to go. You know, I'm like, I'm gonna go spend it with my mom or my dad or the rest of my family. So I'm like, but I don't know. Home is I don't know, and I try not to think about it too much because it makes me sad sometimes. I'm like, okay, where should I? Sometimes I want to go back and like be with my dad or be with my mom. You know, I think home is the company or the bond you share between people. Obviously, I
Um,
love to look at places. I love to feel at home. Obviously, I love the beaches. I love Rio because I grew up there. But I really started to discover myself in China because I was kind of free reign, bro. Like the first night we moved there, we this guy from school invited us over, and the first night that we went there, I didn't even sleep in my own house. I slept at his house, and my mom was like, "Where are you?" And I was like, "I don't know." I kind of just like I was such an innocent kid in Brazil to the point that I wasn't drinking or doing anything. Like I was 17, I haven't done like nothing. And then I went to China. I was like, I'm gonna do everything that I want to do now, and it's like the safest country ever because of all the cameras and stuff. I didn't feel.
this is an interesting thing as well. Like, how old are you? If you don't mind me asking.
I'm 26 now.
26, right? So I got some years on you. um, and I find it interesting that obviously the bands that we grew up listening to, some of which were maybe just before our time, some of which were way before our time. Obviously they all, went out, partied, did the whole classic rock and roll thing. And like, I don't know, look, I like a drink as much as the next guy, but I have noticed how much culture is changing now. I mean, if here in the UK, it's like non-alcoholic beers. In Manchester, they opened up a non-alcoholic bar. So everything on tap and bottled is non-alcoholic, which
Really,
yeah, it's kind of crazy. I don't know. Like,
down in Brighton, I think people still drink a lot.
oh yeah, you can tell just by the way it looks. I don't know when this happened as well. Like
That's interesting.
that Brighton, it was one of those places I used to go when I was a kid, like the seaside, all that, right? And then somewhere in the last 10 years, like the students have taken over, and it's just like, pardon my language, bit of shithole. And I don't like it's creatively
It's
great, but it's just like it
it's a
just
bit
looks.
it's a bit mental at times.
Yeah, what happened? Because presumably that uni was always there, so something culturally must have shifted. Where
There's Sussex Uni, there's Brighton University, and there's BIMM, which is the uni I went to for my BA, and they opened a new one called Waterbear. Are you a BIMmer as well?
no, but I'm going to ask you about
Yeah.
that. Yeah, we'll put a thread in that. Or
Go
do you
on.
want to talk about it now? We can talk about it now if you want.
Yeah,
Okay,
go for
so
it.
here in Manchester, there's a lot of musicians, and I understand BIM is all around the country, so it might not apply everywhere. But here in Manchester, everyone I've spoken to that's gone to BIM will give me the same look when I ask them this question. So what's it like? And they're like,
Yeah.
yeah, like yeah, not
Man,
good. And I'm,
uh,
I'm just like, what? Like you're spending all this money to
it's
learn music, and it's not good. Like, but it's
it's
such a strong
it,
brand. I don't get it.
it's up to the person. It's up to the student. It's up to the. They won't force you to practice, or they won't force you to do like stuff like that.
But
I
you need
was.
that. You need when you're like 18, 19 or whatever, and you need people to push you. Like it sounds like to me, you've always been surrounded by people that were quite um like not like pushy, but like they would they would try to get the best out of you, push you in the right direction. I mean,
I think like I was. I mean, being like the son of a creative person like my mom, she used to do all these plays.
mm,
school, and my brother and I would be either be part of the band or we'd be doing the lights, the cannon. So we had to follow the people. We had to change the colors and know, like, okay, that's the cue. They're doing it. My mom would be like, yeah, you guys are doing that. I was like, okay. So I was always involved with performance on stage. And one thing that would never escape my mind was there was this play that they put in a few Queen songs, and I had to do guitar solo for Bohemian Rhapsody, and I practiced that so much. And one of the guys had this pedal board, and I never had a pedal board in my life, so I was like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna get it." And it was like 15 pedals, and I was like, "Yeah, I'll put it on." And my mom was like, "You're gonna sound check that?" And I was like, "Nah, it works."
Uh-oh.
And then
Uh-oh.
so I started the first band. Nothing came out, bro. I was just
Oh,
standing in front of the whole school with nothing coming out.
oh,
And
that's
then like, after
painful.
that performance, I was 15, 16, probably. After the performance, I went backstage and I laid down on the ground like this. Probably like, I don't even know how long, maybe an hour, like not thinking anything, just like, fuck. And my mom was like, I don't want to say this, but
That was shit. No, I'm just kidding.
oh, sound check your fucking things. And
Yeah, yeah.
since then, my respect for the stage is set in stone. I never disrespect the stage. I'm always there. It's the holy place. Like I'm thinking like I don't know, like I think I heard it somewhere. It's like life for me is just waiting between the moments I perform, like between the moments you're on stage. Because when I'm there is like when I'm that's where I truly want to be.
Oh,
So
I feel that, man. I
yeah,
only feel alive when I'm performing.
when I'm performing, even if I exactly even if I'm feeling like a bit down or I'm mad or whatever, I'm trying to be like, okay, this is the stage. It's like church or a temple is something that you don't bring negative vibes to, or if it's part of your performance, then you channel it, but it's not something that you're going to leave on stage for the bad vibe. You want the stage to be a place of amplification of spirit, not something that's tainted with bad energy or bad blood. So I respect the stage.
I know what you mean. So here in Manchester, I do like a lot of I play a lot of open mics. I do sound engineering for them. I obviously gig and stuff. So I meet a lot of musicians. I see a lot of characters. I see people who live and breathe it. I see people who just do it for a bit of fun. And then I see people with like bad attitudes.
And you can feel it as soon as they walk into the room, like people that
Yeah, like it happened last night, and we've seen this dude play a few places, and like he's never been directly nasty to me, but I've seen him have issues with other people, and it's like okay, but the like you say, the energy is off. Like there's what a person thinks they're putting out to the world, and then there's what there actually is. But like most of the time, people will pick up on the same vibe, even if they interpret things differently. It's like when you walk into a room, like you say, like do people like your energy? Are they like turning away? Like
yeah.
and like what you said about respecting the stage, like I see so many people walk around think that like they own it. Like as a sound engineer, like okay, one of the reasons I got into it was I saw an opportunity. I jumped at it. I've learned a lot over the last 6 months, 7 months, and it's been a blast. I've learned a lot, and I realized that I was applying a lot of what I'd learned in production and recording albums and stuff over the years. Like it's kind of a no brainer. Like that you would have some knowledge there, and I think for any musician that hasn't got a knowledge of it, go out there, educate yourself. It will help you understand your sound better and get more out of it, and have a better relationship with sound engineers. But the cardinal sin is to give the sound engineer bad attitude because
Yeah.
they can A, control how you sound, and B, control whether or not you're going to be heard. You know,
First,
and
first thing I do for every gig, I make sure I know the sound guy's name.
yep.
I take his hands like, yo, thank you so much. What's up, blah, blah, blah. If there's anything I can do, let me know. Like being really like, not like blowing smoke up his ass, but like just being like, I'm here, I'm chilling, I'm vibing.
Well, it's okay. Look, at the end of the day, there's a lot that the sound engineer has to do to accommodate.
Mm-hmm.
Like when we have bands on at this bar that I do the sound at, it's like it's a lot of work. You don't really get time to sound check. You get like a, I guess like a line check if you want to call it that. It's more just like a, yeah, yeah, we'll figure it out as we go. It's very
Yeah,
flying by the seat of your pants sound engineering, but it's
exactly.
good. It's kind of a crash course in that, and you learn through doing, like trial and error. But sometimes there's times when it's like someone's there and they've got like 1500 pedals and a weird setup, and you know there's some feedback that you can't work around, or you got to mic up like loads of amps or whatever. It's like all of this stuff takes time,
Yeah.
and it's kind of a collaborative process. And like, there's been times when I've shown up, I'm setting up, and bands arrive early, and they're like, "Yeah, where's the kit? Where's this? What have you got?" It's like, "Oh yeah, nice to meet you too." Like, fuck you, man. Like, you know,
Yeah,
I don't know. I like you said. I think respect for the stage, respect for the people around you, it goes a long way, especially when you've been doing this for like so many years. Being humble, I think, really goes a long way. Um,
yeah, maybe.
anyway, I've been talking for a long time. Um,
BIMM, bro.
yeah.
Because I joined in, and 6 months later, COVID happened.
Oh, mad. Okay.
Yeah, so I went back to Greece with my dad. Luckily, like I got the last plane back before everything shut down, and I was playing guitar 24/7 and like learning all these songs and getting better at producing and recording, and going back then for second year, no one's turning up to school because everyone was scared or they just didn't want to go to uni. So me and my old flatmate, which we then started a band together, which now has fizzled out like always, we used to turn up every day to uni because you could use like one of the studios. So we would just be playing. We play with the lecturers. We record stuff. We try out new ideas. Just jam and use the space as much as we could. And we obviously, because of that, we developed good relations with the sound engineer from there, the teachers, the lecturers, and like you never know what's gonna happen. And my friend got a really good gig from it. It's like BIM is whatever you put in. I met a lot of cool people from it. I met cool producers who connected me with other people, give me good opportunities. Never had anything like that's like groundbreaking. Oh my god, I'm fine. But it was like great to like it's just a networking environment more than anything. So like same way you talk about respecting and like being humble and stuff. Don't go walking into BIM thinking that you're gonna be like the dog's bollocks, being the best guitarist, and knowing that you like thinking that you deserve all the attention from the lecturers, even though you don't turn up to the class or don't practice, and they can tell.
Let's play devil's advocate for a second. Let's
Yeah,
assume that maybe the issue isn't the students and maybe it's the other way around. Like,
I'm sure.
I hear what you're saying, and I don't disagree. I'm sure there's many instances where that is the case. And look, I went to uni for a different topic, but like I saw that. I saw people that put the effort in, and I saw people that didn't. What I saw from doing marketing was that like the lecturers would kind of leave you a bit of a breadcrumb trail, but they wouldn't. It's not like school. It's not like A levels. They did not spoon feed you. You had to figure out yourself. But if you ask them like, well, how do I go about this? They would definitely answer your questions. They
Yeah,
wouldn't
yeah.
leave you in the dark. The vibe I get from talking to BIM students here in Manchester is that like the way it's taught isn't good or something. Like, and yeah, I said to this guy the other day, like, if it's not good, if it's really that bad, I would just say use the time to just record as much as possible for free, and just use it for what it's worth. Like you got these facilities, use it. You're paying for it, might as well.
That's the whole thing about it. I think that's part of the package, like use BIM for the facilities and the equipment they have and the connections you can get with other people. Like maybe you're a guitarist or whatever and you don't know how to do any production stuff. Maybe talk to someone from the production course and you can do something together. And I don't know. I feel like there's like a sense of quite a negative vibe about it, which I totally understand. I totally get it. But I think I'm just one of the lucky guys who had a really good uh, few like lecturers who cared about me and were really liked because I used to turn up I think I missed a few classes, but like I was always there, always enthusiastic, always like positive. And
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Like,
yeah,
obviously, you're gonna get like in any situation, you can always make the most of it, even if it's kind of the shits. You can kind of get something out of it. I fully get where you're coming from, but I think that with a degree, with how much it costs, with how much
yeah,
time you put aside, everything, there is a certain expectation level. Yeah, I can't speak to the general attitudes of musicians coming through in the UK right now, but I can tell you that I couldn't afford like music lessons when I was growing up. You know, I got my first guitar by trading my bike for it. You know, and the guy was nice enough to throw in a few chord books and stuff. This was before internet was really a thing. So like I was just kind of learning that way. And it took a long time, but there was a willingness there. I didn't want to give up. I wanted to learn how to play.
and it's
And
part of you, and it's hard to teach someone or give someone that energy. And like I totally get like that. My friend who Ziggy actually, I sang a song. So Ziggy Phoenix, this new band that I'm in that I'm
hmm,
really happy with. She just finished her course, and she saw that one of the lecturers, it's another university, was just basically reading out of ChatGPT.
uh,
Bro, that is insane. So
yeah, for a
well,
number of reasons. I was going to get into the AI topic. We'll get there, but I think on that level, just as a kind of side note, there's a level of laziness, and it's problematic. Like taking music as an example, like you said, you were given all this music, you listened to it, you memorized it, you worked around it, you get familiar with the music and how it feels, and um, based on what you said, I reckon that you get this feeling, and this is something that you can only learn through playing and through letting go and getting and actually like understanding music and instruments and stuff. When you're on stage sometimes, do you get this thing where you're not focused really, you're just kind of in the moment, you're just playing. It almost feels like your soul has like left your body or something and is just doing something and you're just there for the ride. And then you kind of snap back into it and you realize, oh yeah, I'm playing this song. I need to pay attention.
yeah,
But you're in the moment. You're feeling it. You just let go. Do you get that?
yeah, a lot. We just played Isle of Wight last week, and we had 40 minutes, and I don't remember how the audience looked. I don't remember most of it. It was just like that, and we were rehearsing for it like crazy. I'm looking there because I have like a I'm a visual guy. I need like physical like
Yeah.
calendars to put stuff in, otherwise I just forget. And it just went by so quickly that after the set, everyone was like super excited. I was there like, is that it? I want more. I was like so like I don't think I enjoyed it as much as I could have, as much as I should have. I was I think all these things. It's because about that feeling you're talking about. Like you're just in the moment and you don't realize it. You don't. There's a specific moments that like my soul kind of returns to my body. It's like, okay, there's this guitar solo that I cannot mess up, and then I do it in a live show, and then whatever. But like you're in a flow state, and I'm always paying attention to the band. I'm always listening, and I'm always there to adapt, no matter what, you know.
That's
And
what they call it, isn't it? Flow state. It's you get it. I've had it in music. I've had it in acting. I had it when I did bar work, which was pretty cool.
pretty cool.
Yeah,
That,
like it just
all of the things,
flows.
yeah, which connects to my mom is a Zen Buddhist, and there's this specific part of it called perfect liberty, and their whole thing is about world peace. And I'm not so sure what it is exactly, like the specific number, but they have this thing saying that if only 5% of the world was from their religion, then we would have world peace, which is like a really cool way of saying things. And about things about Zen Buddhism is that art is in everything that we do, like
Mm.
how you make your coffee, how you serve your pints, how you dress, how you talk to people, how you walk. So it's like there's elegance in this art, and that's how you express yourself. So
It's
once you get like
so true. It's
once
so
like
true.
yeah, so like once you reach a state that you're not even thinking about the things that you're doing, you just letting it take its own wave or like do its own thing. That's when you realize that you're not, maybe not at peace, but you're just attuned to the things around you, you know?
It's like when people say like, "Oh, what's it like to be a musician?" I'm not a creative person. I'm like, wrong.
You
Like you
are.
said, there's creativity in
Yeah.
literally everything. Even in like something like maths, there's creativity.
Huge, huge,
Mm.
dude. Like, there's this, my mom just finished her PhD, right? And she's defending it now. And she asked me to do like this little edit for the video with some sound. And it's about this guy who does art with extremely like mathematical machines, and it's just like the most beautiful thing is like these machines, like they're super flowy, and it's like you can see it's like a whole lot of machinery and equations, physics stuff that it's beyond my capability, but the end result is this amazing flowing natural thing with patterns and stuff. So there's art in everything, man, and people are creative in multiple ways, dude.
You brought up ChatGPT, which leads us to the whole AI music thing. Now, with a lot of these questions, I ask musicians here and there similar questions sometimes. So there'll be questions that are just, but most of the questions I don't even have written down here. It just kind of flows. It's just
Yeah.
part of interviewing, right? But there are certain questions where I like to get people's thought process on it, and I think that it'd be interesting to get your thoughts on AI and its influence on music and where we're headed, because you're very much like living in that old world of music, which I resonate with. Like I grew up on a lot of the same bands, and you see like the way the world was, how music was, and then you see how it is today. And in some ways, it's really progressed in a really, really positive way. And there's a lot more accessibility and experimentation and stuff. And then in other ways, it's lazy. Like,
I
I'll
was
quit.
talking to I'm a roadie for this guy called Tim Arnold,
Hmm.
and he was signed to Warner in the 90s and stuff like that. Now he's an independent musician who's doing really well. And he was part of that, like just the turning of the century, like the turning point, you know? And he was like, man, like, I don't know where I'm going with this, but basically he was telling me of how things, how differently it was. The respect, it's like the respect for music, you know, like the deep love that we both share for this specific art form. It's because we understand how hard it is to be able to make great art and make great music, you know? And I think people from this day and age, which I might be wrong, I might be generalizing way too much, see it as being something quite simple and straightforward with things like I'm getting these ads on YouTube. Like I hate it. I block every single one of them, but like they just pop up with different like URLs or whatever. And it's like, oh, I'm gonna produce a song for this person, and I'm gonna use this new plugin called Co-Producer, which is AI basically analyzes your track and gives you suggestions for what you should do next. Give literally like tells you what to use, what kind of samples you're gonna use, snare and stuff like that, sounds, and like now get a different like voice for your thing. Sing well, like sing into this, uh, record your vocals. It will like obviously like align everything, and then you would suggest different voices like male rock. Here's someone that sounds like Chris Cornell, or something like I'm like, bro, can you just practice and do and become your own thing? Like, don't be someone else because it's easy. Like the hard thing about music and the people that stand out is because you look at him, he was like his own thing, and then you look at him, he was his own thing, and then him, own thing, and like their voices might not be like the most like yay, like stuff like that, but it's them, it's purely them, and I think that's one thing that resonates with the world is because if you're not honest with yourself, how do you expect other people to appreciate your art? I think it's all about honesty and opening the gates and letting the flood in, you know? I don't know. I might be getting like too crazy right now, but
No, I'm completely agree with you. I think AI music is bullshit.
it is bullshit.
There, I said it.
With Spotify, dude, creating this like fake ass fucking band who now has like 500, like 500 like thousand monthly listeners, and it's all AI slop bullshit, and people can't
Wow.
even tell anymore. And what does AI do with that music? They fucking reinvested in fucking AI that like it's crazy, man. It's honestly like,
The only time I think AI has any business being in music is where it can unearth something or
It's
repair something. Like the Beatles used it
yeah,
on
it's
that
a
track.
tool. So one, I use AI in a few ways myself.
Of course. Well,
Uh,
it's like look. As a tool, it's like auto tune. Everyone uses auto tune. If you're a musician, you say you don't use auto tune,
Fine.
you're lying. Yeah, everyone uses it, but it's the extent to which you use it. If you're just bumping something up, like when I did my album, Classic Point, right? I can hit all the notes on that album. Okay. Now, did we tweak it a little bit with what was it? It's not. There was a
Fine.
particular program. Um, Codes,
Anyway,
something like that. I don't know. There's like a program you can use where you can bump up the pitch and back up
bro,
and down and whatever.
I used
Now,
it. It's like
sometimes it's easier to do that than it is to go in there and do like 20 takes for like a small section.
yeah,
However, if you're going to do the whole song with AI or auto tuning or whatever, then it's not a true performance, is it?
no.
It's
And
a lie.
yeah, and I think it's like any tool is like how much do you rely on it? You know, with
Yeah.
I did this. I'm in this Led Zeppelin cover band, and we had this rehearsal, and I couldn't like I only had four inputs, and I got like a really good balance naturally from the room, and I did the best mix that I could. I was like, oh, let me try this new splitter AI splitter thing. So I bounced it and then put it back in the project and asked Logic to split drums, bass, guitar, and vocals, and it worked really well. Which meant like I could like mix the vocals and put like some reverb on it without having to like make all the whole track wet. And it's just like AI in that sense. I think it's a great tool because maybe yeah, you're being disingenuous. I mean, if you want to argue, be devil's advocate, like, oh, you're being disingenuous with the rehearsal. It's like, dude, I'm just making it sound as it should be in my head, not faking it. I'm not.
Well, it's like when editing and digital software became a thing in music, right? And people would argue like, oh, well, you know, it's not a true guitar solo because you've taken parts from different takes and put it together. And it's like, it's me playing. It's me
Yeah,
playing that. And I've chopped it together. And like on stage, I'm gonna do the whole fucking thing in one take. You know, there are no rewrites on stage. But what is the record? The record is like a blueprint. It's like a this is more or less how this song sounds.
yeah,
And then when you go play it live, you play it totally differently. You know,
yeah.
you know. But
But it's
it's
fun.
it's it's yeah, it's like a reference point, really, isn't it?
And sometimes,
Um,
like with some bands, I even prefer the live stuff more than the recording.
yeah, same.
Because if they're good bands, they're gonna. I mean, one example that might not specifically apply for this scenario that we're talking about is when I first listened to Fleetwood Mac. I
Yeah.
listened to live Rumors from the '90s, and I was like, "Oh,
Oh,
this is
so
wow,
good.
so good." And then I was like, "Oh, let me check the studio stuff." And then I was like, "I prefer the live stuff for some reason, man. Like the energy is crazy, but obviously, like those recordings are now timeless for so many different reasons."
What do you make of I mean every live artist has their music produced when they put out like a live performance, but
Of
some
course,
do it more than others. So like I think Metallica is a really good example because when you listen to what I've heard is that they they lay it down, they record it all, they remove Lars's drum tracks.
uh,
He'll play in the studio like a sort of a live version of it, and they'll insert that and produce that, and then that's your live performance. Tell me that's not bullshit.
oh man, who gives a fuck at the end of the day? You know, like
Sure, but like I don't know, like it's
I,
not a
it,
true
it,
live performance, is it?
it's
He
not
wasn't he
live.
wasn't really playing those drums in Berlin. He was playing them in California.
Yeah, I see that. Like, I completely agree with you. It's not live. It's bullshit. But at the same time, I would rather listen to a good Metallica live record than a shit Metallica live record with Lars being fucking ga 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 all the fucking time. You know. And
I don't know. I want to hear the real thing.
yeah, so I don't know. Like, I'm with you, but at the same time, he's not the guy. He's not that
Ouch.
amazing. I don't know. Like, I grew up.
You're just not that guy, man. You're just not that guy.
Who am I to say chat shit? Lars only had one band, and that band was Metallica. He never played for any other bands. He was a songwriter. he's a core part of the band, but his,
Absolutely.
and I respect him for that. And I love the songs that he played. I think the drum grooves that he played in like early shit was amazing.
Unparalleled. Yeah, yeah, fantastic. And kind of a bit like Ringo, very kind of out there,
Yeah,
um,
it plays the part, and like
different.
there's
Yeah.
a reason why I feel like I just don't understand. Like sometimes drummers, mostly drummers, don't seem to appreciate the Beatles or any of those old bands.
And then they're
Oh,
fools.
dude. Yeah, they're like, oh, dude, this is so simple, so stupid. I was like, go ahead and write something like that then.
There's a
And
dude. There's a dude. I mean, there's many people who've done this, but there's a particular guy on TikTok that I saw about a year ago, and he did like a video of like why Ringo's drum parts are like
there's
genius.
so many of those fucking videos, and I love.
Yeah, it's like okay, this is what would have been. It would have been like if he'd just done a stock beat, and here's how it sounds when he does it, and how much it gives. And also, like people forget as well. I think he was left-handed, so
Yeah,
he
for like him
played.
his fills, like yeah,
Yeah, and it gave like a different feeling to it. Like I don't know, it's interesting.
the way he swings the hi hat, he's his like side to side. And where is he? He should be somewhere but up here as well. Wait. Oh, there he
Oh
is.
man, there you go.
I
I love Ringo. I don't know why Ringo gets so much hate.
love him, and I love the fact that he voiced also like Thomas the Tank Engine. That for me was a part of
Yes,
my childhood.
same.
And man, I just like going back to live albums. If you talk about one of the best live bands that ever was, I don't know if it's here.
Sabbath.
Uh, Going, have another guess.
So 70s band.
Yeah,
Leonard Skinner.
that's a really good one as well.
Mm,
I don't have him here. I don't know. I need to organize my vinyls. Like basically,
Deep Purple.
there's all my vinyls in here, but like I need to organize everything. For me, it's like Led Zeppelin's one of the best live bands ever.
Yeah, absolutely. But is it Purple? Is that the one?
I was talking about Led Zeppelin songs remain the same.
Ah, okay, all right.
I have like, and I love that video. I mean, that film and stuff like that.
What's your favorite
And
album by them?
by Led,
Yeah,
either he changes all the time, but it's either Led Zeppelin one or Physical Graffiti
for me, it's Led Zeppelin 3.
three. Why three? Because of what? Is that the Since I've Been Loving You? Gallows.
Immigrant Song, Gallows Pole. Just the way the whole album flows. It's a very well structured album.
Like they didn't miss, bro. Those first albums they did not miss, dude.
Yeah, one through four. I mean, it's like any other band, isn't it? So many bands full prey to the. And I'm not saying the albums afterwards were not good. It's just bands always inevitably change after that. They have their first four albums and then they go in whatever direction.
Dude, so where was I? Like even like the song remains the same,
Yep.
or like the BBC live sessions. He listened to it. There's another guitar. He's like tracked another guitar to make sure like in his solos it was so as heavy. If you listen to Robert Plant, sometimes he's double tracking stuff, and some of the same. That stuff was edited, man, to the point that they had someone filming it, and the footage did not come out perfectly, so they had to recreate the live footage in like a studio. So that's why you look at John Paul Jones and his hair looks weird because he's wearing a shit wig. And
Oh, weird.
yeah, they recreated some of the like the close-up shots, and that's why like most of the playing from Jimmy Page is not the same. When I was young, I was like, oh, maybe this is just a creative decision from the film guy because it's just like being cool.
They hired some actor to play him.
It's like because most of their stuff was improvised, man. So it's hard for him to recreate exactly what he did. Because when I was learning those things, I was like watching him play, and I was like, that's not what he's playing. And I was like, what? And but because that's another thing, he got pampered with because it's gonna last. It's meant to last the test of time, And I think, that's okay because I listened to that, and then I listened to the bootleg Led Zeppelin stuff that you can find on YouTube, like badge holders only, other stuff like that. Dude, there's like they did like a 45-minute jam of no quarter.
Wow.
That's what they used to do back in the day. In like Song Remains the Same, they do a 30-minute Dazed and Confused version. So it's like those guys are editing, and then also another band that was amazing, like The Who. They have this amazing song called Naked Eye, which is like.
We're not going to come through on the audio, unfortunately.
It's like the way he plays on that. It's like here. I don't know.
But
That's the magic about that song. And I've got the deluxe edition of Who's Next, which has that like 30, like maybe like 15-minute song. And every time I listen to it, if it's a different album, a different thing, they did different edits of it. So I think it's fine to edit your live stuff and still call it live because it is a performance.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Don't get me wrong. I think it's necessary. I
Mhm.
just think that there's like levels to it that
Yeah,
you
re-record
have.
the whole drums. Maybe it's not the best
I
authentic.
just
Very
I
good.
don't think it's I think it's a bit disingenuine.
Yeah,
You know, like
I think
that's
so.
all I'm saying. Like the whole thing with like say Metallica is that everyone knows that Lars can't play the way he played in his 20s, and like I think a normal reasonable human being doesn't hold that against someone, you know. The only arguments I would say is maybe don't write drum parts for yourself in new songs that you can't play. That's number one, or that you struggle to play. Number two, it's fine to like. And I know he has with certain songs. He doesn't do certain fills anymore, and it's like, yeah, man, like absolutely. Like anyone giving him shit, it's like, look, you try playing in a metal band for like 40 odd years and see if you can still hang, right? Like I saw people shit talking ACDC recently, and I'm like, how dare you?
Uh,
Like, yeah, he's not gonna sound the way it did like in the fucking 70s, but like they've been going for so long and they still deserve to be on stage.
That's one thing
And
that it's really interesting about music and art is that it's so easy to judge. It's so easy to think that you have like a. It's like natural. I think natural for people to like just look at something and be like, "Oh, that's not good," or "That's not amazing." And I don't know why people feel like they have the capability to judge something and just put it down straight away without going a bit deeper into it. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I think it's part of the society that we live in right now. Like I've seen just how judgmental people have been like towards me over the last
Not only that, but also
6 years of doing this
this
again.
is Neil Young's lyrics from the album, and people were trashing his performance in Glastonbury,
Yeah.
and I was like, "How fucking dare you, motherfucker!"
Well, it's just everyone seems to hold everything up to like some sort of fucking measuring stick of like okay, musicians performances. Not every performance is going to be good.
No,
Sometimes you sound shit. I
and
mean,
that
I've been a musician for 21 years, and I can tell you, like I've had some terrible ones. I've had
and
some good
also
ones. You know,
you might
it's
be
part of it.
performing, and then someone else from BIMM, dude, that was my best gig ever, and you're there like, that was my worst gig.
Yeah,
It's like, and that's part of the fun. It's like tuning into each other and tuning into like your own uh, credentials of what a good gig is. You know, like another example of my maybe non-musos kind of like trying to understand this music world is that I told my friend I was playing this like the festival. He was like, "So who won?" I was like, "What do you mean who won?" I was like, "There's not a it's not a competition." And
oh
it's
well,
just
like he thought a festival was a
yeah,
competition. That's weird.
like Battle of the
Fuck
Bands or
like
something.
that.
I was like, "Who is the best?"
Oh, right. Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
was like, "There's." I was like, maybe Sting was the best one. I guess Sting is still a badass
Well,
motherfucker.
sometimes they do like line it up like it's an actual contest. I have seen that a few times. I mean, like for instance, here in Manchester, there's a thing called Metal to the Masses, where if you win, you get to perform at I think Bloodstock.
Hey,
But like it's still even if you don't win, it's like you've seen a bunch of fucking awesome bands for like continuously for dirt cheap. I mean, it's awesome. You know, the concept's brilliant.
there used to be a band from from Manchester. They used to be called Pastel, I think.
Pastel. That rings a
Um,
bell. That does ring a bell.
I haven't seen anything from them in ages, but I remember like listening to them. I was like, "Oh, this is really Mancunian vibes right there." I love
Speak,
Manchester music, man. I love Manchester music.
Speaking of Manchester, you said that you've played here. You played at
Yeah,
the Pier Hat. That used to be my local years ago. Tell me
no,
about that
okay.
experience and
That
being in
was such a
Manchester.
cool experience. So basically, I played in two bands on that night. So I played the opening band, which was my own band with my friend back in the day, and there was a middle slot, and then I played with the headliners. I played bass for this band called Polite Bureau, who are a bit amazing, super like Prodigy-esque with like really cool attitude. They're based in Sheffield now, and it was cool. It was like it's like we walked in. Obviously, like we drove the night before and we stayed around the area, so I explored a bit. It was kind of the main square, like next to the big McDonald's, and it was like another festival going on in the main
Yeah.
square, and it was hot. No, it was when was it? It wasn't summer, was it? I don't remember. It was kind of cold. It was cold, and it was a really cool experience, man. We did the sound check. I went outside. I was talking to some people. And this girl turns up to me. Never saw her in my life. She gets a can of Coke, smashes between her tits, and like, nice to meet you. And I'm there like, oh, and I
Wow.
was like, I guess this is Manchester then. And like, I don't know, like from the legends of all the bands that I grew up. Obviously, like this is gonna sound so funny for British people, but in Brazil, obviously we love rock and roll, and there's a big fucking crowd, and like the classic meme, "Come to Brazil," because no one comes to Brazil, or they only come there when they're huge. But we don't get to be exposed of to bands who are up and coming and then reaching that level. They only go to Brazil when they can pack out stadiums, right? So Foo Fighters, now Oasis are going to Brazil, and talking about Oasis, like I grew up listening to them, and I love them. I love them. And a lot of people here in the UK trash them because of the whole culture surrounding them. And I wasn't exposed to that culture. I was exposed to the music first of all, and listening to definitely Maybe and What's the Story, Morning Glory. Those albums, I'm there like they're so badass, man. Like, and
I don't get the like maybe I just look at it differently as a musician, but I know a lot of people that are musicians that think that they're terrible, and I'm like, I don't get it. Like, are they the best Mancunian band? I don't think so.
oh,
Are
bro,
they the best of
so,
their era? It's up for debate, but they've got some fucking classics that you
dude,
cannot deny, especially some of those B-sides as well. Like, you'd be surprised if you
Master
really give them a
Plan, come
chance.
on, dude. I like fucking in the bushes. That fucking song is so like, dude, standing the shoulder of giants. Oh, dude, there's so many.
Underrated album. Underrated album.
There's so many like,
Hindu Times, great album.
bro, come on. I'm there like just thinking about it. I'm gonna listen to. I'm gonna have like an Oasis face. I mean, they're playing like a few days, aren't they? They're playing
Yeah.
like 3 days, but I didn't get tickets
I
because
gotta say the tickets thing is bullshit though. Dynamic pricing. Like, I've seen like right now, if you want a ticket, it's like 400 up, like up to 1,000. I think that's
I'm
insane.
just happy to be able to see live footage again. You know, I think my young self understands that I'm too skinned right now to be able to afford 400 pound tickets. He's like,
It'd
that's
be
a
it'd be cool to see like what they sound like now, because there's been a lot of criticism about Liam's voice and if
no
they can
band.
get along. People are like taking bets out on like how long until they fight and shit.
So
So,
British. British people love betting, bro. It's amazing.
well, I think it's because it's they've notoriously been at each other's throats, and
Yeah,
like
dude.
especially since they broke up, like they so many insults thrown both ways, and it kind of caught everyone off guard when they got back together. But obviously, these are just live shows. They have no intention of writing music again.
No, I think it's just because they understand like they've become a legacy band, whether they like it or not. They're part of British culture, and I think it's their duty to fucking. It's up to them how they want to be remembered. You know, do they want to be remembered as two brothers who didn't get along, and because of that they didn't perform to a new generation, or do they want to put that aside and obviously make a fuck ton of money and
But
kind of
it's yeah, it's kind of a good shout with what you're saying. Like the fact that like all the people going to see them pretty much are going to be like younger generation people who never knew what it was like growing up with that band. I mean, like when you look at like the Smiths, like most of their fans are not from that era. It would be like younger fans, you know?
yeah, it's crazy. And another interesting band that I saw in Isle of Wight was The Scripts,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hall of Fame. My girlfriend loves them, and she showed me like she was like we are doing like the classic thing before you go to festival, like checking out the music. And I was like, oh yeah, I know this song, and obviously I like The Man Who Can't Be Moved. I think that song is a banger, and basically they're doing this world tour because their song The Man Who Can't Be Moved blew up on TikTok for the second time.
Oh, sweet.
That's why they're doing all these like they play Isle of Wight, they play Glastonbury, they're like doing all kinds of stuff, and it's because of that song that a new generation fell in love with. So it's funny like how sometimes something can skip a generation, like you get a dip and then come back up again. And the thing with Oasis is that they're so the melodies they have, which are quite Beatles infused, are timeless. You know, whether people like it or not, if they think they're twats or the whole like culture surrounding them is like kind of wanky. the music is
So wanky.
yeah.
So, I'm gonna start using that now.
Wanky. I don't know. It's just like one of my best friends from Brazil. His dad was a fanatic, so every time we went on road trips, it would be Oasis, and I didn't mind it. I loved them, bro. There's a was it? It's on definitely maybe no, it's not definitely maybe. It's not like on the second album.
Mm.
Uh, is Magic Pie? I think is the name of the song. It's used to be my favorite song. They have some rock and roll bangers, bro. They are so sick. Let me just check.
Yeah, I think that gets overlooked sometimes. I mean, Noel has said it like a million times that they are a rock and roll band. That was always the plan. It's a bit like Motorhead, same thing. Like Lemmy always used to say the same thing. We're a
Yeah,
rock and roll band. You can call us a metal band, you can call us this, whatever you want, but we are a
bro.
rock and roll band.
They're a rock and roll band, man. It's badass, dude. And like the sounds of the song,
Yeah.
just so good. It's just so good. There's no denying that. If you want to be like an indie kid's like, I don't like Oasis or whatever, like, bro, shut the fuck up, bro.
Well, I think okay. Let's look at like music consumption for a second. I think
Oh,
that that's a big part of it. Like most, yeah, classic. A lot of being a music fan these days isn't like the way that we grew up listening to music, which is you hear something, you're like, oh wow, you go buy the album, you sit
yeah.
and just listen to the whole album, become familiar with it, and then that's a thing, right? Like how many, like even like the way that music is produced now, like a lot of artists just don't release albums anymore, and I'm like, how can you not? It's like a moment in time. Like, dude,
Yeah.
I released my album in March. I've already moved on past that point. I'm still promoting it and stuff, but I'm like desperate to get back and record. Like I just
Yeah,
want to
man.
move on, you know?
Life is all about those moments in it. And I feel like I've done a few albums, like my first band, and that was a moment in time. And every time I listen back to it, we were called Little Room. And the songs are good, and we like went to cool studios to record. And every now and then when I'm feeling a bit nostalgic, I listen back to listen to those recordings. And because I record everything that we did, like the rehearsals, I filmed everything. I can still access that and remember that
Yeah.
they're not like rose tinted glasses, I can see like how it was. And I feel like maybe because in my family from both sides, there's a lot of people with dementia at the end of their lives.
Mm.
Like I want to be able to have as many not physical, as many like pieces of evidence that I can look back to, or just because like I think music and I don't know, this life is so amazing that I don't want to forget anything. I don't know if that sounds selfish or not, but like I
No, I
just
know what you mean.
moments.
I do the same. Like, dude, I've got so much music from the years. I've got like photos, videos. I'm always that guy taking videos and photos,
Yeah,
and
man.
it's like I'm surprised more people don't. There's been so many times when I'm like, why have we not taken a photo
I
here? Why have
gotta
we not
show
done
you
this?
this, right? Like keep talking. It's basically like I still talk to my guitar teacher, and he's actually a bass player, and he taught me and my brother basically. I had a 1 year with him, and then my brother would always be like around for the lessons, and he would be listening. And then one day, my guitar teacher was like, "He's a bass player," and my brother, in a span of like 4 or 6 months, got up to the same level of me, like playability and skill. And I was like, "This cunt, fucking," and that's us when we were young.
Oh, God bless you, man. Look at that.
With
What a journey.
the hair, come on, dude.
Love
But
it.
yeah, this album here was the reason why I picked up guitar.
Oh, mad. Okay. It's Blood, Sugar, Sex, Magic by Red Hot Chili Peppers, right?
And I remember the first time. I think before obviously I always knew the Beatles and stuff, and I think the first album that he made me listen to was Blood Sugar Sex Magic, and I listened to it twice nonstop because I was so amazed by it. And then after I listened to it back to back, it's a double album, so it's long. I searched it up, and there's a free documentary on YouTube, man. It's amazing. The documentary is like them with Rick Rubin, and they're recording
Mm.
so many cool parts, and it's like Flea developing the line for boom, ba-doom, forgive it away, and before he was doing so many, and the record was like, nah, dude, oh, his shades, huge beard, right? Like the beard, the shades, like, nah, man, less, just that dude, that dude, go, and it became the song, and I'm there like, wow.
That's the fascinating thing I found about being in the studio as well is that you go in there and the songs you've written the songs already, but then they become something else. And sometimes it's because maybe the producer just hears something else in there and is trying to like help you with it, or other times it just makes more sense a certain way. Like I remember the way I sing this song Afterthought on my album, like when I went in the studio to record it, I did it totally differently because it just the way I normally do it wasn't working for some reason.
Yeah, and you have to let go. You have to.
Yeah, just let the song become itself. 100%. Okay. I want to ask you about this before we move on. So you're in I think we've already kind of established it in your life. You're just good at juggling things, but I need to ask, you're in five different projects at the moment. How do you manage that? How do you juggle that? How is that even possible?
Uh, I think I'm in more now. I think I'm in six,
Jesus Christ.
and they all.
Is it possible to actually dedicate enough time to all of those though?
That's what I'm thinking of right now. Like I think yesterday I had a great epiphany. Like after playing Isle of Wight with my band Ziggy Phoenix, I was like listening to the videos, and I was like, this is probably like the first band that I've been in that I'm writing the songs with the singer. We all have like we complement each other really well to the point that I'm writing a song and I'm like, I can have a solo here and not feel like it's shoehorned. Like I'm of all the bands that I've been in, I feel like that's the best band that I'm in. Like even though we've been playing together for 8 months, 9 months, it's come a long way. And like we have like we're finishing our first album, and I'll ask you a few questions about actually about that because I think it's gonna be cool to see what you have to think. But different bands require different like hats. Some of them I'm session, most of them I'm sessioning. Some of them I just go for gigs and I kind of know the material and we do one rehearsal before. So some of them don't require a lot of time. But now I'm in a point in my life that I'm like, I think I found my bands to the point that I want to just. I'm still debating it. I'd still like maybe like deciding to quit a few things just to focus all my attention on it and be like, okay, this is like go big or go home. Because it always takes like when in this I love Dave Grohl. I love Foo Fighters. I read his book as well and I fucking love it. He got after Nirvana ended, he was obviously like he didn't know what to do. And one of his options was joining Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers.
I saw that, yeah.
Turn it down because he's like, I'm gonna do my own band. I'm like, the ball's in that man, dude.
Did you hear about the story of like did you hear his story about why he decided to like actually give Foo Fighters a go?
Go on.
It's crazy. He told it on a chat show one time, and it just blew my mind. So I don't know how long after Kurt died this was, but you know, it was still
Oh,
very, very fresh.
I think I know.
You know what I'm gonna say, right? And he was toying around with the idea, but basically he was very withdrawn, as you would be. Like I think he and Chris after that, after Nirvana, obviously ended in the way that it did. I don't think that either of them really imagined that they would do music anymore. Like they didn't want to. It was quite just ugly. I imagine the media attention was probably horrible as well. Like, it was bad enough when they were in the band together. You'd always hear Kurt talking about that. Like he didn't want to become famous. It just happened, and then they were just pestering constantly, especially back then. So you can imagine how just in your face they would have been. And he was trying to withdraw from it. Just I don't know, find some sort of sign of what to do with his life at that point. So he takes a drive out. I think he's in Scotland or somewhere
Yeah.
rural in the UK, just driving around the middle of fucking nowhere. And there's a dude hitchhiking or something, just at middle of nowhere, some dude, and he's wearing a fucking Nirvana t-shirt. And like, I don't know, I guess the way the Dave describes that is like he kind of saw it as like a sign like a weird one. It was like the universe kind of fucking with you, and not long after that, he formed Foo Fighters, and the rest is history. But
Bro,
I do look at things like that sometimes as a sign, like that things.
there's this book that I love by this Brazilian author, Paulo Coelho, The Alchemist, right? Which is a really cool book that you can apply in different facets of your life. And every now and then, I go back and read it again because I always get something different from it. And there's a big part of the book is about recognizing the signs, and the more you see them, the more they reveal themselves to you. And you can see the signs in many different ways. It can be like your gut instinct, the voices in your head, or these things like that are in front of you that you can interpret as signs. So yeah, go on.
It's no, I completely agree with you. It's just interesting. Like right now in my life, I'm completely lost. I don't know. Everything's up in the air. I don't know what to do, where to go, anything. I know what I want from life. I'm very clear on that. But every time I'm trying to go for it, it's like that life doesn't want me, kind of thing, right? So I'm like, what do you do? What do you do? What do you do? But I'm a big believer in that. I'm a big romanticizer of fate, and nothing is coincidence, and everything happens for a reason. But it's interesting when you hear other people talk about their lives and you see that and you live kind of vicariously through that. And then you look at your own life, and it's like I've had quite a journey in my life. A lot has happened in a short space of time. I've learned a crazy amount. I've had some pretty crazy experiences. And like basically I just want to do like creative stuff for a living. I want to do music for a living. I want to do acting, all these things. I don't care about fame. I don't care about being rich or anything. I want to do this for a living. I can't do anything conventional, you know?
I completely agree. I'm with you, man.
Do you always, it's like the reason why I understand like someone like yourself is that I understand the way your mind works because I see it, I feel it, I get that feeling when you're on stage. I know what it's like. It's like a drug, man. I don't need drugs. I just need that. I need the feeling that that elicits. And you only get that from like creative things when you're a creative person. So like when you're doing the right thing, this kind of extends beyond creativity, right? If you're doing what you're supposed to do in life, what feels right for you, it'll never not feel right. And it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks or says. If it's right for you, it's right for you. And if you're not doing what you're supposed to do, it's the worst feeling ever. This is why I've tried to explain this so many times over the years that if you see me, say, doing this podcast, let's look at this podcast for a second. I've not earned a penny from doing this. I've been doing this for 5 years. I think this is episode 317. And I've gained so much from this that you could never put a price on. I've learned life lessons. I've learned how to be a good interviewer, how to have a conversation. We've been talking for like an hour and 16 minutes.
Wow.
I
Yeah.
barely spoke, like thought about
Yeah.
it. It
Right.
just, you know what I mean? Like you just learn to do these things and you learn to have appreciation for it. And it goes in waves. There's been times when I'm less infused. And then there's like right now where I probably love doing it more now than I did when I first started. When things become about how they make you feel and what you get out of them rather than trying to make money or trying to get people's attention, it'll always be the most beautiful kind of purest version of
Yeah.
itself.
100%.
But yeah, I am lost. I don't know where anything is going. Um, I just kind of look at everyone else and I'm like I look at like someone like yourself and I'm like, that's what I want, man. That kind of like life where you're living the dream, you're realizing your dream and your potential, and
But at the same time,
sky's the limit.
I'm in the same I'm in the same shoes as you are right now. Like I also feel lost. Yesterday I had like a fucking bit of a moment for myself. I was I did a lot like yesterday I like met up with Ziggy. We had like a little admin day catch up, and then I went to rehearsal, and then I was like going back home walking because I had no money to get a bus. Like I was
Yeah.
like, do I want to spend £3 getting on this fucking bus or walk it and then be able to get something and eat home? And I just walked it and I just sat in the park and I was like, fuck, I have no fucking money.
Same.
Things are fucking hard.
Yep.
You know these bands, and I'm not making a penny out of it. And I'm like, I just got up my guitar and I started writing and looking at the sunset, and that made me feel better. And I
Yeah.
walked home and I was like, I can do this. And I sat down, I called my girlfriend, and I was like, I think yesterday I had like this big epiphany, and I was like, fuck it, man, I'm gonna go in for one more year, go as deep as I can with one thing, put in all my fucking eggs in one basket, go for it, get up every day, grind this shit, do whatever I need to do, and I'll see where I'm at in 1 year. I feel like I'm like a guy who's able to. My mind goes like this, right? I think from the conversation we had, you can see like I just go from one topic like this. So like that's why I think I'm able to be in so many bands. It's because like my attention span is so short, and I'm able to adapt and improvise quickly enough that people think I'm prepared, but I'm just blagging my way through life.
Everyone is, dude.
Yeah.
Everyone is.
So I'm there like, I don't want to do that anymore. I want to be focused. I want to be like Jimmy Page of Led Zeppelin. I want to be what Robert Smith was with The Cure. I want to be what Paul McCartney and John Lennon were to the Beatles. I want to be what Anthony Kiedis and Flea were for Red Hot Chili Peppers. I want to be. All these things are inspiring me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's why I have them up in the wall, because if I'm looking down, I kind of look up to them and they're like, I can do it. So,
I think as a writer as well, one thing to keep in mind, and something I've had to remind myself as well, is that hard times often bring about the best art.
yeah.
If you look at your struggles right now, where you're at in life, you'll probably write your best music now. And when things do eventually work out, your music won't be as good. It won't be bad. You'll be more seasoned, there
It's
might be other things, right?
different.
But
Different.
it's yeah, it different. But
Something.
the struggle is really, and if you look at like the best songs of all time, it's always simple. It's about love or struggle or whatever basic stuff, but it connects
I
on the
mean,
human soul.
I think that's one thing the Beatles got right, is that
All we need is love.
the, something, the way she moves. I mean, like Mother Nature's Son, While My Guitar Gently Weeps, Here Comes the Sun, Benefit Mr. Kyle. I mean, like Strawberry Fields Forever, like Penny Lane, Magical Mystery Tour. I could go on forever. I fucking love the Beatles. I did like I'm on TikTok and stuff as well, and one thing that I do to like put myself in a kind of like performance scenario is like just doing some live streams on TikTok.
Mm.
So sometimes I'm teaching myself piano, and I'm like, I have like the songbook with Beatles. I call it my Bible. I have like the songs of everything, and I just start playing, trying to play piano and sing at the same time, really low key. And I don't. I'm pretty much like I have no one watching those lives. Like maybe I have like the maximum like maybe 10 or 9 people, and it's just like you end up like making conversation. They become part of your community, and then they come to your gigs because you're like, dude, you're such a genuine guy, and you do music because of the love, not because you're trying to show off. And I think music is about the simple things in life expressed in a way that everyone can understand it. And I think that's why simplicity is the key. And simple doesn't mean stupid. Simple means just the gold nugget. Instead of having the whole rock with all the bits, you just go for the gold and make that into the whole song. So I think that's why the Beatles are the best band of all time. I love them, bro.
He said it. There you go. What has music taught you about life?
That you have to adapt easily. Like you have to be always up on your feet and improvise. And if something changes, you change with it. Like the more you stick to what you think your ideologies are, obviously you need a backbone. You need to be your own person, but you shouldn't like be so stern to not follow the path or follow the flow. What else? It taught me how to talk to people and how to communicate without speaking. Just like looking at someone, like when you're rehearsing and then like everything is so loud, you have to look at someone and like through physical gestures, or just by looking with someone, they know what's coming up next. So I learned how to kind of read the room, understand vibes, and knowing when not to play and when to shut the fuck up, you know? I learned my lesson like that the other, like maybe a few months ago. I came back from a gig. I was playing for this guy called Nikolai Celestia. He is amazing, amazing songwriter, Gibraltar based. And he comes here every now and then, and we do like a whole like 2 week intense like recording session stuff. And we did a gig at Folklore Rooms, and I was playing banjo for him. And we got back from the gig, and we were like on the bus around 1 a.m. I got the banjo out because we were so chuffed because the gig was so nice. We started singing songs like really low key, and then suddenly I just hear this guy is like, "Oi, stop playing that short music!" And he's like, he turns around, has a kind of Heineken and like a West Ham shirt, and his face is snotty and full of shit. And I was like, "You got some snot up your face, mate," because I was pissed. I was like, "Fuck off! Don't tell me that shit." He gets up and he's hovering above me, super fucking wasted. And he was like, "What do you say?" And I was like, "I like the beer you're drinking." He goes like that and he just shoves his can on my face. And I have like a little scar. You can't see it, but now it's gone. He was so drunk that like he just went like that. It didn't hurt. It just like I was wearing contact and they came out because of the beer in my face. And I was like, "What the hell?" And then he ran away. So my lesson was sometimes you just gotta shut the fuck up, you know?
What a weird story, man.
I
That's some football fan just he threw a beer in your face and then ran away.
know.
What?
Yeah. I was playing banjo in the
Question.
bus, bro. But yeah, sometimes you just gotta shut up and let things pass.
Absolutely. What's the best advice you've ever received?
I really like got so many advice, so many pieces of like suggestions, feedback. Because obviously, as a musician, you thrive through that. You know,
Absolutely.
I don't know who told me or if I'm like watering it down. It was like about I don't know the exact words, but I know the feeling is like not every advice. It's like don't take every advice with a pinch of salt. It's something around that area. It's like people are giving you advice from their perspective and what they think is doing you like good or like, oh, I'll tell this myself if it was your age or back in the day. It might not be applicable for you. And I think a piece of advice that I kind of like put together from all the different sources and inspiration I have is if it's hard, it's because you're doing the right thing.
Agreed. Yeah.
Because we all have our own paths, right? That's going back to my favorite book, like The Alchemist, is that if you're following someone else's path, it's I wouldn't say it's easy, but it's just like you know what to expect. And if you're building your own path and it's hard and you don't know where you're going, it means that you're doing the right thing because each person has their own way, their own path. So keep following that until you I don't know, reach the next goal and then reassess from there. I don't know. It's kind of like all these kind of words put together. What about you? What was the best advice you ever received?
Probably be yourself.
Yeah,
What's the biggest life lesson you've learned so far?
not to play banjo in the bus.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough.
Lesson. It's that if you try to please everyone and your mentors, you will be just in the middle of the road and won't have juice in you. It won't be like something that you want to consume. I guess consume is such a negative word for these days. Like you won't be like something that you want to acquire or take in, you know. I feel like it's easy to, if you don't know what you want to do, it's easy to kind of have one figure who you see as a mentor or XYZ, and you do everything you can subconsciously to please them because you think that's the right way forward because you think they're leading the path. It ends up usually like you get straight like from your path instead of fulfilling your own thing. I think the people that I admire the most are not even artists, but like people who are themselves in the most authentic way they can be. And you just know when you see a person like that who are like they are themselves to the nth degree that they don't care. It's like it's not like they don't care in a negative sense. It's just that they don't let it bother them. They're just themselves through and through.
Solid stuff, man. Thanks for sharing. Final question for you to round things up for today's show. Do you have any upcoming projects or final thoughts that you'd like to share with our listeners?
Kind of. Oh yeah, I've got quite a big. We got a big gig going up in London with Ziggy Phoenix on the 30th of August at the Troubadour. That's your big one.
Ooh,
Yeah, we're really excited for that one. And we might have a gig down in Brighton here, first headline in the end of the month, depending if everything goes out nicely. So those are the main things that I'm looking for towards. And yeah, just follow our band Ziggy Phoenix Official to be connected and join the clan. We swear we're not a cult, unless you want to be.
it's been an absolute blast having you on the show, man. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, sharing your life with us.
Anytime, bro.
And yeah, man, keep up the music, keep up the good vibes, keep doing you.
Thank you for sharing your stuff as well and being so inspiring to talk to, man.
God bless you, man. Thank you very much. And to all the listeners of the Christian Reeve podcast, I hope you enjoyed this show as much as I did. Let me know who you'd like to see on the show next. Let me know what you'd like to hear on the show next. Be safe, be well, and I'll see you in the next one.